So yeah, this webinar was supposed to start at 11. It's 11:20. That's a 20-minute wait, so I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for being so patient. We'll get started right away. So if you guys didn't know, the topic for this webinar is going to be the universe of securities that are in your IDE when you're creating your algorithms. And for those who are unfamiliar with the concept of the universe, that's what we're going to cover here today. So let's dive into it. Basically, if you guys, this is your first webinar, what's going to happen is that I'm going to introduce the concept itself at first. And then after that, what I'm going to do is walk through an algorithm that uses the concept in action. And finally, I'm going to go through a question and answer section. And after that, I will post all the material to this webinar. And I will get you guys the recording in a couple days as well. Is everyone good with that? Any further questions or? All right, then let's get to it. Sorry, can you guys just show me once again if you can hear me? We're having some network problems right now. Oh God, this is terrible. Hi guys, sorry about that. We had some network problems on our end. Once again, could I just get a confirmation? Can you guys hear me? Sorry guys, we just lost our connection for a couple minutes. Can you guys just post in there if you guys can hear me or not? Great. All right, let's get started. I'm going to turn off my webcam just to speed up the connection. Okay, so your universe of stocks. What I said before, we're going to be covering the definition of what the universe means, the set universe method, and we're going to go through an algorithm that uses a daily rebalance to equally weight all the securities within the financial sector of the S&P 500. So let's get started. Basic concepts. What is your universe of stocks? Simply put, in layman's terms, your universe is the stocks that will be present in data at every call of your handled data method. So if you were to do for stock in data print stock, every stock that gets printed out will be in your universe. So just to show you guys what that means, let me context.stock equals SID of Apple, and I do for stock in data print stock.symbol. What this is going to do is it should print Apple every single time because that's what's in my universe. So we'll just wait for the logs to show up so I can show you guys what I mean. You see Apple showing up? Now that Apple is my universe at this given time. And a more formal definition of what universe exists, and that is the union of all the securities that are handwritten in your algorithm. So that basically means anytime you mention a security, it will be in your universe. Anything called by a set universe or my universe method, which is present for the fetch CSV method. And finally, anything that currently belongs in your portfolio. So that means anything you hold a position in will be in your universe. This also applies to securities that are no longer trading. So, I mean, this is cool and all, but why do you care? So it's great to have a strategy that has a single security, like if you were longing Apple, pair trading Apple. We just lost our connection again. Sorry guys, we are having some big connectivity problems right now with our wireless. Sorry, can you guys just confirm again that you can hear me? Wow. Yeah, sorry guys, can you just confirm once again that you can hear me? Okay, and so we're gonna have a question and answer section at the end of this. So feel free to write down your questions and I will get to every single one of them after this tutorial section. So back to what I was saying, why should you care about your universe of stocks? So when you're backtesting your strategies, you want to do it against a random basket of securities rather than ones that you've handpicked yourself. Um, a classic example is that if you had a momentum trading strategy on Apple, that you won't really get accurate results from your strategy because Apple itself has outperformed the market by leaps and bounds within the past 12 years. So what you want to do to minimize Apple and maximize the returns that you'd get from testing your strategy is that you would test it against a random basket of securities. Now, you can do that by setting your universe to be a random basket of securities, and we provide you two main ways of doing that. The first way is called the set universe method. The set universe method is basically a factory method that we give you that lets you choose the top maximum 200 securities based on this dollar volume ranking. And what I mean by dollar volume ranking is that the price of the security times the volume amount traded is going to be the score of a security. And if you choose the 99th through the 100th percentile of all securities, it would be the top traded securities with the top volume in that quarter of the year. And this will give you approximately for every percent about 80 securities. And you can use maybe like 90 to 91 if you don't want the top traded securities, or if you want the top traded securities 99 to 100. I'm just going to go through that in the IDE right now very quickly. So if I do set universe, and there is this autocomplete 99.0, 100.0, and I set this date to 2014, and I run this. Remember before that we just had Apple? Oh, whoops. That we just had Apple before. But now what we're going to get is about 82 securities of random length. I should log in, but so you get all of these securities, but you didn't explicitly define in your algorithm, but they're still there because these are the top dollar volume securities in that quarter, the fourth quarter of 2014. Now, just to reiterate what we went through before, I mentioned that your universe is any security that you personally define. So if I were to do, even if I'm not assigning it to a variable, if I were to mention Google here, this Google, even though it's not in my initialize, even though I haven't done something like context.stock equals symbol of Yahoo, this Google, just because it's mentioned somewhere in the algorithm, it will be present in your universe during the duration of your backtest. So just keep that in mind, even if you're doing something for logging purposes. Anytime you mention a security, and anytime you mention a stock, it's going to be present within your universe. Food for thought, keep that in mind. And that's really the set universe method, and you can figure out how many securities are actually in your universe at any given time by just calling the length of data into object. Oh, sorry. Stock and data. I meant print len of data. Now this is going to give you the number of securities within your universe. So that's 82. Yep. And Aaron, I am going to share the document that I'm working with as well as recording. So just be waiting for that. So next part, that's the set universe method. Next, what we're going to be going through is the fetch CSV method. Now, fetcher is this big, complicated thing that I get a ton of questions for, and people are always asking me, how do I load in data through this column? It's not working. So we're gonna be going over it more in depth in later tutorials as well. Today, we're just concerned with fetch CSV in the context of loading in a data set to use as your universe of securities. So fetch CSV, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the algorithm that we're going to be working with, which is this define custom universe via fetcher method that Jessica Stott coded up back in April. I'm going to close this algorithm and we're just going to take a quick look through it. So it's pretty simple. What it's doing is it's going through all the securities in the S&P 500. It's a list provided by Quanto. And what it's going to do is we're going to grab all the securities that belong to the financial sector. We're going to use that as a universe of securities. And we're going to equally weight every single stock that's in that sector. I hope that's clear for everyone. If you have questions, we'll definitely be covering. Remember, we're going to do a question and answer section towards the end. So just keep your questions, ask them again, or I'll look through the questions that you've already asked now. So the fetch CSV method, let's go back to our document. So what are the goals of this algorithm? We want to load in all the stocks and we want to equally weight all those stocks. So the first part is getting a list of stocks that belong in the S&P 500. You can do that easily. Quandl actually provides you a link to do that. And if I open this up right here, we get this here. You get the Quandl code, you get the sector, you get the name, and you finally get the ticker, which is the most important part. Now, when you're loading in data through Fetcher, there is a very specific format that you need to have it in. The document itself will go over that in detail. Just basically, if there's anything that you take away from this webinar, just remember that you need the ticker and you need the date. Basically simple enough, but if you guys want more detail for other scenarios, that document will go over that pretty in-depth. Now, the next part is we want to use the universe func in fetch CSV. So if we go back here, this fetcher call, it's going to take in the URL. Fetch CSV is going to take in the URL of the CSV. It's going to take in where the date column exists. And finally, it's going to use this myUniverse function, which is defined up here, to define our universe of securities. So let's go into that. If we look back at the CSV that we have, we see that we have the ticker and the sector symbol. So what we're doing in the myUniverse function is that what Fetcher is going to do is going to take the CSV. It's going to convert all the tickers within that CSV to SID objects. And once it's done that, it's going to pass it through to this myUniverse method over here. And what this myUniverse method will do is that it's going to grab all the securities that belong in the financial sector of Fetcher data. It's going to get the set of that, so it's going to get all the unique symbols within that set. And finally, we're going to get the universe size so we know how much weight to put into each security. And finally, we're going to return that set that we got up here down here. So what it's doing is that it's grabbing all the securities within the financial sector of the S&P 500. It's going to get the unique list of that. Finally, it's going to return that list, and our algorithm is going to use that list as our daily universe for the stock. So if I do print stock, we're only going to get securities within the S&P 500. Waiting for the log, and you see here, these are all things that belong in the S&P 500 financial sector. So that's using the fetch CSV method to load in an external data set and use it as your universe of securities. Now there's a lot of other stuff that I did to it. Now you mentioned, I mentioned before that the date column doesn't exist, and what you have to do is add in the date column yourself, and I actually do that in the code where you have a preview where you in here prefunc equals preview. You actually, in this preview method over here, what you can do is add in a date column equals 10/1/13 yourself, or you can do that in Excel before loading it in. And that's because if you don't have a date associated with your fetch CSV call, your fetcher won't know how to associate the SID object to the date that it belongs to. So this is absolutely necessary, and you guys, just to reiterate, you need the date column and the ticker column in whatever external data set you're pulling in for your universe method. And that is pretty much the basics of fetch CSV. Finally, after reloading our data sets, what we're going to do is every day for each security within our universe, we are going to order that security with the context.target weight that we found by calculating the number of securities that are in our universe and dividing that by 1 to get, like, I don't know, if it's like 80 securities, 1 divided by 80 is your weight for each stock. And we're rebalancing that each and every single day. Now, obviously, this is all in daily mode, and really the best way to convert this into minutely mode is to use a schedule function method. Schedule function. If you guys haven't seen it before, this makes using minutely mode ridiculously easy. So what you just do is you define a function called rebalance. You define the day rule equal day rules dot every day. Let me just get autocomplete going on over here. Date rule, okay. Let's rebalance. Date rule equals date rules dot every day. Time rule equals time rules dot market open. We define define a function called def rebalance context data. And what we do is we just literally copy over what we had in handle data and just put a pass here. And now you have the same exact algorithm in minutely mode, executing orders at the beginning of day every day. And this is like pretty much the most basic rebalance algorithm you can have. It's obviously nothing too complicated, but the focus is on getting you guys comfortable with how to set your universe of stocks, how to load in an external data set to use your universe of stocks with the fetcher method. And you can find a lot more information in the documentation, but I'm sure we just covered a lot of information. So we're going to start going into question and answers now. So if you guys have any questions, please start posting it, and I'm going to go through each and every single one of them. So I'll give you guys a minute or two to start posting questions. Is 82 the typical number of stocks in the 1% range dollar? Yes, Joe, 82 is a typical number of stocks. 1% is about 80 securities at any given time. As for Aaron Goldenberg, is there going to be a recording? Yes, there's going to be a recording at the end of this, as well as I'm going to post up the documentation. Thanks. So is there a limit to how many stocks can be in your CSV document? Yes. No, but yes. So there is no limit to how many securities can be in your CSV. But at any given time, your universe at maximum at every bar is going to be 200 securities, around 200 securities in minutely mode at least. No, but there is a maximum limit of securities at any given time in your universe. It's around 200. Yes, Aaron Goldberg, your universe is going to be around 200. Can I define my universe with a mix of fundamental factors? Yes, absolutely you can. Actually, fundamentals has a way to make that the sole method of giving you the sole method of choosing your universe. Can you clarify that question a little bit? Because if you're using fundamentals, you can actually choose the top 50 stocks with the highest market cap and make that your universe directly instead of using Fetcher or something like that. Are you saying, can you use it, can you define your universe with a mix of fundamentals and Fetcher? Is that what you're asking? Yes, you can. So I'm going to just let me write this down, and I'm going to go into that for a little bit. Yes, Fetcher provide this. So currently how the order works, and this order is very important, is that what happens is that first, before trading starts, gets called first. And then after that, the my universe method gets called. So so the answer is yes and no. You kind of have to work around the system a little bit. Is that on the very first day of trading with your algorithm, your fetch fundamentals is going to provide the universe. But what you can do is you can provide, you can set a variable called context.fetcher stocks and let your fetch CSV call populate that fetcher stocks method. And once that happens, after the first trading day, your fetch fundamentals can now start using that context.fetcher stocks in your algorithm. But you're going to have to wait a day before you can start doing that. Does that make sense? Sort of. What about that doesn't make sense? And I can help clarify that for you. You think you have to play with it? Okay. So I'll definitely try to get an example up for you when I post this into the forums, so you can have an example to play with. Um, yeah, no problem. Do we have any more questions? Yeah, once again, sorry about the wait and the network connectivity problems today. Um, it's not a good day for it. And finally, I'm going to leave the question box open for a couple of minutes. If you guys have any feedback, if you guys found that I was going too fast, too slow, didn't include enough detail, or not too much detail, please send me an email with any suggestions that you might have, or even anything that you might want to learn in the next webinar. Please send it to my email. I'm gonna post it with this forum, and you guys will have finally you got direct access. Sorry guys, I didn't introduce myself. My name's Sung Lee. I am a client engineer over here at Quantopian, so I'm doing a mix of both engineering and client support. You guys can find me in the forums, pretty helpful. My email is slee@quantopian.com. Thanks, Joe. I'm glad it was helpful. So I'll leave this open for about 1 more minute before I close and shut this down. Once again, please, any feedback you guys have, seriously, anything you guys want to learn, send it over my way, and then it'll be a lot more helpful when I'm constructing the next lesson plan. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Sorry about the wait. Sorry about the network connectivity. The next one's going to be much better and much smoother than this one. Once again, the recording and the guide, as well as example code, will all be available in the post for this that will be sent out in the email as well. So thank you so much.